Are we masters of our decisions or prisoners of our brain? Jak sobie mais in a serie miyas? Did you know that the average person makes around 35,000 decisions every single day? From choosing which socks to wear in the morning, to making life-changing decisions about your career, relationships, or future. How many of those decisions are actually yours? Most of us like to believe we are rational people. We think we carefully weigh the pros and cons. We think we are in control. But the truth is far more unsettling. Your brain may have already made your decision before you even become aware of it. Behind the scenes, hidden mental programs shaped by evolution are constantly influencing your behavior. Quietly, automatically, without permission. Today, on Brain Unlocked, we're stepping into the dark control room behind human behavior, the psychology of decision-making, and the cognitive biases secretly controlling your life. Why do we make irrational decisions? The human brain is one of the most powerful processors in existence, but it also has a problem. It's lazy. Your brain is obsessed with saving energy to survive efficiently. It constantly looks for shortcuts. In psychology, these shortcuts are called heuristics. Most of the time, heuristics help us make fast decisions. Without them, everyday life would be overwhelming. But in the modern world, these shortcuts often lead us into predictable psychological traps. And the scary part, most people never notice them. Imagine walking into a luxury store. You see a watch priced at $5,000 right next to it. Another sign says, discounted, now only $2,500. Suddenly, $2,500 feels cheap, even if the watch was never worth that amount to begin with. Why? Because your brain became anchored to the first number it saw. The initial price created a psychological reference point, and now every decision is unconsciously compared to that anchor. Companies know this, advertisers know this, marketing experts build entire strategies around it. And once you understand anchoring bias, you start seeing it everywhere. Restaurants, online stores, real estate, politics. The first piece of information your brain receives often shapes everything. That follows, not logic, not truth, just psychological positioning. Loss aversion. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Loss aversion. Research shows that losing $100 hurts significantly more than gaining $100 feels good. In fact, psychologists discovered that the emotional pain of losing is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of winning. Think about that for a moment. Your brain is designed to fear loss more than it values gain, and this affects nearly every part of life. People stay in toxic relationships because they fear losing familiarity. People stay in jobs they hate because uncertainty feels more dangerous than unhappiness. Investors hold collapsing stocks because selling would make the loss real. Sometimes we don't choose what makes us happy. We choose what feels less painful, and often those are two very different things. Social proof. Humans are social creatures. For thousands of years, survival depended on staying connected to the tribe. If the group ran, you ran. If the group avoided danger, you avoided danger, because separation from the tribe once meant death. And even today, that ancient survival system still controls us. Imagine walking through a city looking for a restaurant. Another has a long line outside. Most people instantly assume the crowded restaurant is better, not because they investigated the quality, but because the brain automatically thinks, if everyone is choosing this, it must be correct. This is called social proof, and in the modern world, it shapes everything. Trends, fashion, politics, social media, public opinion. The problem is, the crowd is not always right. Sometimes the crowd is emotional, manipulated, distracted, or simply wrong. But our brains still crave validation from the group, because deep down, we fear isolation more than ignorance. Free will an illusion? In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted one of the most controversial experiments in psychology. Participants were asked to perform a simple action whenever they wanted, like pressing a button. But something strange happened. Researchers discovered electrical activity in the brain began milliseconds before participants consciously decided to move. In other words, the brain appeared to make the decision before the person became aware of deciding. This experiment sparked a disturbing philosophical question. Are we truly making choices, or is the brain making decisions first and simply informing us afterward? It challenges the entire idea of free will. And while scientists still debate the interpretation of these findings, one thing is clear: human beings are far less rational than we want to believe. We are emotional creatures first, logical creatures second. Most of our decisions are driven by feelings, instincts, fears, habits, and subconscious patterns. And then afterward, our brain creates logical explanations to justify them. We don't always think our way into decisions. Often, we feel our way into them, then call it logic later, unlocking the mind. So, can we escape these psychological traps completely? Probably not, because they are deeply built into human nature. They are part of our mental operating system. But awareness changes everything. The moment you recognize these hidden biases, you begin to see your thoughts differently. You slow down, you question yourself, you stop blindly trusting every emotional impulse. The next time you make an important decision, pause and ask yourself, am I truly thinking clearly, or am I trapped inside one of my brain's shortcuts? That single question can change your life, because awareness creates distance, and distance creates control. The people who understand human psychology gain something powerful: the ability to think independently, to resist manipulation, to recognize emotional traps before falling into them. And in a world built to constantly influence your attention, emotions, and decisions, that is a superpower. Outro. If you want to continue unlocking the hidden mechanisms of the human mind, understanding why people behave the way they do, and exploring the psychology shaping modern life, make sure to subscribe to Brain Unlocked and send this video to someone currently struggling with an important decision. Because sometimes, understanding the brain is the first step toward understanding yourself. And once you unlock your mind, the world never looks the same. Again, see you in the next video.